Good morning, friends. I'm Dr. Yogesh Sarode of Juvan Vikas Mahavidyalaya Deogram. I welcome you all in this session. Today, we will learn poem "The Lost Leader" by Robert Browning. In the last session, we had seen the introduction of the poet, about the poet, crux of the poem. Today, we will learn about the recitation and comprehension by paraphrasing of the poem. So first, I will read the poem. We know this lost leader, the poem, the lost leader, is in the form of dramatic monologue. So it does not have a regular stanza form. It's an expression of the poet. The lost leader does not mean the leader is dead. The lost leader means the leader has left the party here in this poem. So whatever relatings attached with the sense or with the title that is there, that message poet wants to convey with you. So first I will read the poem and then we'll see the paraphrasing part of this. Paraphrasing, means replacing difficult words by simple one and understanding the meaning. The poem is: just for a handful of silver he left us, just for a riband to stick in his coat, found the one gift of which fortune bereft us, lost all the others she let us devote, they with gold to give doled him out silver, so much was theirs who so little allowed. How all our copper had gone for his service, rags were they purple, his heart had been proud. See, here is an exclamation. Rags were thy purple, his heart had been proud, we that had loved him so, followed him, honored him, lived in his mild and magnificent eye, learned his great language, caught his clear accents, made him our patron, made him our pattern to live and to die. Shakespeare was of us, Milton was for us, Burns, Shelley were with us. They watch from their graves, he alone breaks from the van, and the freeman, he alone sings to the rear and the slaves. This is first part. Now second part. We shall march prospering, not through his presence. Songs may inspirit us, not from his lyre. Deeds will be done, while he boasts his quiescence, still biding crouch whom the rest bid aspire. Blot out his name, then record one lost soul more, one task more declined, one more footpath untrod, one more devil's triumph and sorrow of angels, one wrong more to man, one more insult to God. Let us night begins, let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation and pain, forced praise on our part, the glimmer of twilight, never glad confident morning again. Best fight on well, best fight on well, for we taught him strike gallantly, menace our heart. Are we master his own? Then let him receive the new knowledge and wait us, pardoned in heaven, the first by the throne. And here ends this monologue. Now, once again, we will see the paraphrasing part of this. See, just for a handful of silver means just for the sake of some money. Now, this handful of silver refers to Judas, in mythology, which betrays Jesus for a small fortune, for pieces of silver. So here is a reference of handful of silver. So we can say, just for a handful of some money, he left us. He abandoned us. Then riband word is there. Riband is an archaic word. That means a ribbon. In the third line, fortune bereft. It means fortune or luck deprived or lacking. Then we find the word they with the gold to give doled, D-O-L-E-D. It means distributed shares of something like this. Now when we proceed the stanzas, how all our copper had gone for his service, rags, R-A-G-S. Here it means in poverty, because Wordsworth was a republican in early days. Even if he were in poverty, then his heart was rich and proud. That is the sense here. Now in the subsequent line, we can see lived in his mild and magnificent eye. Magnificent eye means extremely impressive, beautiful. Learned his great language. Now his great language means language of freedom and individuality. Caught his clear accents. Clear accents means republicans always used to speak as Wordsworth used to speak. Just like Wordsworth was speaking, other republicans were also speaking. So that is accent. Made him our pattern, means made him our model, because Wordsworth was accepted as a role model, an ideal person to be followed and respected by the republicans, to live and to die. Shakespeare was of us, Milton was for us, Burns, Shelley, these are all romantic poets. Where with us they watch from their graves, he alone breaks from the van. Van means here from front of army in battle, means a front line of marchers. And the freeman, he alone sings to the rear backwards, back foot, and the slaves. So these are the simple words I replace in place of difficult one. We shall march prospering, not through his presence. Songs may inspire. Songs may inspirit. Inspirit means inspire us. Not from his lyre. Lyre, a string instrument, like a small harp that we play. Deeds will be done while he boasts his quiescence. Quiescence is the state or a period of inactivity. That's the state of mind. Still bidding crouch, whom the rest bid, whom the rest order to do something, aspire. Blot out his name. His name means his name should be removed from the list of the liberals. His name should be removed, deleted from the list of the worthy persons. Then record one lost soul more. One task more declined, one more footpath untrod. Untrod means unfollowed, not followed by. One more devil's triumph and sorrow for angels, one wrong more to man, one more insult to God. See, if you make a wrong to man, it is just like making insult of God. Very simple. Though the words difficult to understand, seems like that, but the meaning is very clear. Life's night begins. It means without Wordsworth, their life would be a life of darkness. A life without mast, just like a ship without mast is meaningless. In the same way, that was the faith of republicans, that if Wordsworth is not there, their leading march is meaningless. They will be just like in a dark. They had such a faith for Wordsworth. Let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation and pain. forced praise on our part, the glimmer, smartly or in a stylish way of twilight. Never glad confident morning again. Yes, blot out his name, then record one lost soul. Let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation, and pain. Forced praise on our part, the glimmer of twilight, never glad, confident morning again. Best fight on veil. Best fight on veil, for we taught him strike gallantly. Gallantly means smartly. Minas, our heart, air, we master his own. We will be superior to his own than own. Then let him receive the new knowledge and wait us, pardoned in heaven, the first by the throne. So, this is the monologue. I have replaced difficult words. See, once again now I will explain the poem. Friends, this poem, The Lost Leader, is composed in 1845 by Robert Browning. His first published in his first published book, Dramatic Romances and Lyrics. It berates William Wordsworth for what Browning considered his desertion of the liberal cause and his lapse from his high idealism. More generally, it is an attack on any liberal leader who has deserted his cause. It's one of Browning's best known, if not actually best poems. So it has such a weightage. The poem is in the form of a dramatic monologue of 32 short lines. It is spoken by Browning, who is a member of the Republican Party, and a party that stands for people's freedom, people's liberty, people's rights. Browning here speaks on behalf of his party. The speaker complains that their beloved leader, William Wordsworth, whom they always respected and honored so much, has suddenly deserted them, has suddenly left them without caring them, has been bribed by the ruling Conservative Party that offered him a rank and position and a handful of silver, means for small fortune, for bribery. Being poor, the Republicans or the Republican leader or the people in the Party of Republic were unable to give him this huge money. But they showered upon him far greater gifts like honor, worship, love and affection, because that was with them only. They didn't have that much money. So whatever they had, they showered on Wordsworth. But Wordsworth didn't respect of all these things. He ran behind money. So that was the blame on him. He was their leader, their model, and their guiding spirit. Besides, they were his obedient followers. Nevertheless, Shakespeare, Shelley, Milton, Burns were all Republicans and Democrats throughout their lives. They always lived for their principles. Wordsworth alone sold his soul and accepted slavery under the Conservative Party. So, the poet Robert Browning advises the Republicans not to be discouraged by the betrayal by their leader, by Wordsworth, whom they trust more. They should not worry about that. They would continue to fight for their cause inspired by others, if not by the deserter. He may be considered as a soul owned over by the devil and lost to God and mankind. The Republicans taught him to fight, and he can use that skill to fight against them. means to fight against the Republicans. However, they cannot accept him. See, if for a time being Wordsworth even changed his mind that he would return to the Republican Party, now the party members will not accept this. Once he left the party for just bribery, they cannot accept, even if he returns, for they can never again give him the same honor and respect as before. First love is first love. They cannot change. If he wants, let him fight against them. They are not afraid of him. Their cause is just and they will ultimately defeat him. They would pray to God to forgive him. This is what is the fiery reaction not only of Robert Browning, but Robert Browning is the representation of Republican Party. It means these are the reactions of all the peoples in the party against Wordsworth. So friends, this is what is the explanation part of this poem. First I have read the poem, then made its paraphrasing, and then brought it to the simple meaning. So definitely I hope you can understand this poem. In the next part, we will see some more issues connected with the poem. So thank you for today. Good day.